Here I want to draw a sketch, a caricature sketch of the guys from Peaky Blinders, the two main guys. So I'll start with this guy, Cillian Murphy. So I'll just grab a screenshot of that. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with it, and what I have in mind. So looking at that, what jumps out at me for that face is that the distance there, the philtrum as it's called. I would focus on that. And his eyes are kind of prominent. It's not that they stick out, they're a bit prominent, and he's got some cheekbones. On his mouth, the top and bottom lips are roughly the same width. I always take a note of that. And he's kind of slim. The hat will probably make the hat very big in the drawing. So with those few things in mind, I think I can do a sketch of that. I'm using, by the way, if anybody wants to know, I'm using Photoshop CS3, which is an old version, but it shouldn't matter what drawing software you use, they're all roughly the same. And my image size is A3, and I'm setting the pen to a size of 19, and the opacity and the flow are both at 50%. I'm doing this. Okay. This is just a sketch. Obviously, if the sketch works out, I'll come back and finish it off as a proper drawing. Actually, 19 looks a bit small. I'm going to set the pen up to about 40. Yeah. So let's see, I would usually start with the nose. The nose I'm not doing anything weird with, I'm just staying close to what I can see in the photo. Might change how long it's going to be, let's see. The good part about digital drawing is I can come back and move the bits around if I need to. The eyes, I might change the size of them in a minute if I don't like how this looks. I would normally do caricatures where I have the eyes looking at us, the viewer. But in this case, I think I'm going to do Tommy holding a gun, looking away from us. So I'm drawing the eyes looking to one side. So let's see, the mouth is a big deal here. So usually when I get about that far with a sketch, where the features are in, well, also the eyebrows. Let's see. Eyebrows are kind of straight here. Usually when I get that far, I would then move things around until I can see his face in it. I think that's not bad. He's got a kind of a flat expression. He's not very expressive. My old 12-year-old computer is struggling here with this new screen recording software. Let's see. I need some cheekbones. I read the Wikipedia page for Peaky Blinders, and it says, although it's based on a true story, those razor blades weren't available in England at that time. Those razor blades like you get in a disposable razor. So that part of the story is not true. I also read somewhere else that William Hill, the founder of William Hill Bookmakers, was an original member of one of those Birmingham gangs. Who knows? I don't know. I wouldn't imagine they're in a hurry to promote that fact if it's true. The ear here, you see, is below the eye. The top of the ear is below the eye. It's below the bottom of the eye in that photo. So I'm trying to keep to that. And as I said, the hat, I'll make that big. This sketches don't have to be perfect. The work comes in afterwards. Sketch should only take about 15 minutes for each of them. And then if I like it, then I come back later and finish it off as a caricature. That will take a couple of hours with all the proper colouring and fixing. Yeah, I can see enough of Tommy Shelby in that. It's not perfect. That's sticking out a bit at the back, maybe. I can't see the screen at the moment of my own face. So two things, I would imagine that it looks like my eyes are jumping all over the place because I'm up close to a big screen here, so I have to keep looking back and forward. The other thing to think about, this is my first one of these videos, is that if you start concentrating on a drawing, you can forget about your own expression, and so then I'll be here like, so I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to keep a normal expression, which is actually very distracting. Hopefully I get used to it. Yeah, this isn't awful. I think I could build a caricature out of this starting point. It'll be that. Finish off the shading in there. Okay, so I would normally use I keep another file here where I have a palette of colours that I use. So just to put a bit of colour into a face. His eyes need to be a bit bigger, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think I can see him in it. Just going on based on the few ideas I had at the start about what to concentrate on. The long philtrum, the lips being the same size, the cheekbones, all that. Just putting a bit of colour here. So as you can see, not too much. I mean, this is not. I wouldn't win any caricature competition with this, as it is so far. But so far, it's good enough to sketch. If the sketch is good enough, you can work with that. If the sketch doesn't look like him, and you try to fix it in the colouring stage, that probably won't work. But I think the sketch, I think there's enough of him in the sketch to move forward with this. Blue eyes. And that there is the colour I use for. Hold on. Just thinking the video of my face might be obscuring the picture, so let's move that there. And so then that's the base color, and then I make a layer called values. You can use the previous as a clipping mask if you want. It's not essential. And this is where I want to put in some reds. At opacity maybe 10 or something like that. Something low. Somewhere between 10 and 20. It's a bit missing of needs a bit of this on the eyes. And the mouth, I just colour that in it. Set the red to about 50%. Set the opacity to about the pen to 50% rather. Just put some colour in the lips. There's a bit, and then the last thing I put on the face for the values is some touches of white. It's too much. I'm going to put a layer in for darks. That's sitting on the bottom layer of colour. I just want to put some. There's some darker parts like where a beard would be. That. And then around the bottom of the chin. Maybe touch around the eyes. What colour would I call that hat? Somewhere, some kind of grey approaching blue. Just roughly colour that in. I'll have to do a bit more work in the hat later. But for now I'll just colour it in roughly. A few highlights of white in that hat I can see in the source photo. Okay, I think that's going to do us good enough for Tommy, for Cillian Murphy. My idea for this drawing was that I'd have Tommy down at the front pointing a gun, so he'll be somewhere over here, I think, and then I'm going to have Arthur back here. Where's my pen? Arthur somewhere up here. Okay, so let's try get a sketch of Arthur. How am I doing on time? Alright. So Arthur, let's see, was it Paul Anderson, I think, is the actor. I want to get the, there you go, that expression, that sternness. This guy is a good actor because, well, one of the reasons. You have to draw this character as Arthur, you can't just draw it as the actor himself. For example, if you did, say, Rowan Atkinson is similar, you have to draw him as Mr. Bean or Blackadder, but the same character won't work for both because he looks different when he's playing different people. He's a great character actor. Steve Coogan as well. And this guy here, who I'm calling Paul Anderson, I'll check in a minute. I notice if I ever see him go to draw him again as a different character, this caricature isn't going to work because there's too much of he's getting too much of body and too much of expression into this one. This character is unique. Okay, so how would I draw Arthur? I would say the point about with Arthur, he's actually easier to draw. Saying that, I'll come along now and make a mess of it. Come on, my red pen. I would think that nose is bulbous at the bottom and short, and then there's some eyebrows going like that. Eyes are kind of hidden. Obviously there'll be the moustache. His head is kind of square with that bit sitting on top. Ears have them sticking out. And there's a square bottom of the chin there, so it loads to... That's my general plan if I was for Arthur. So let's do that. Setting the pen size again to about 40. Let's see. Starting again with the nose, because the nose I think is more prominent in here. The end of the nose is more prominent. And those eyebrows. The eyes are hidden a bit under the eyebrows. Moustache. See what I mean about this? It's not as hard to draw. I'm not saying it's going to be a great sketch, but it's easy to get something that will look a bit like it. That mouth is a bit tricky. That is what I would do there. That line underneath to give that slight pout. And then his head. Let's see. I'd switch the pen size to something bigger for that hair. Ears. Take note again that the ears are... In this photo from that angle, the ear you see is around the top of the eyebrow. It's just if you don't get that, something looks weird about your caricature. So it's worth paying attention to. Finishing above the nose in this case. Yeah, I don't know how that cheekbone goes. And as I said, there's a squareness to the jaw then here. Oh, does that look? So I need to come in a bit. Yeah, that's not a bad for a start. So let's do this. Make it a bit smaller. The character art are a good thing. You can always, well, not always, but a great thing you can do drawing a character of someone is if you've actually seen them physically moving in real life, you can see how they hold themselves. And that's part of the character. This character is how he stands. So I'll try to get that, and that'll help with the likeness. There. As you can see, the sketches, they're not too complicated. I'm just trying to get started with these sketches, and then I'll come back later to try and make it into a good cartoon. Thing I do to this guy has got a slight build, so the thing I do to show that is sometimes is make the shirt not fit the neck. See, the collar is a little bit outside, so yeah, that's not right. Let's try it again. No, here's what I'll do. I'm trying to remember to speak clearly as well, not quietly under my breath. I'll learn more as I do more of these videos. So I think Arthur is inclined to hold his shoulders up like that. So let's do him with I remember some episodes had shirt sleeves rolled up, so we do that, and a waistcoat. And one arm hanging down like he's getting ready to punch somebody with it. Maybe the other arm grabbing a hold over here, something like that. Let's put a touch of colour in it. This sketch, I don't think it's perfect. It's not terrible. I can work with it. I can make something of this, I think. Let's put a touch of colour in it for now. I think he's in there, but I'll do a little bit of fixing. There's no point recording the whole process because it'll be a couple of hours all in, and I don't think anybody would watch that video. That's why it'll have to be a speeded up video or something. I just today want to show you the sketching. Okay, so a bit of colour, a bit of values. I think my Arthur looks a bit older than the real thing. Some whites. They can use maybe a wrinkle or two on the forehead. I think you can do with when you're drawing with your pen is not at full opacity, you can duplicate the layer to get thicker lines like that. I just duplicated the face layer there to get the lines darker and merge them. And then merge them together. That's a little bit better. The merge is not working. Hold on. No. What else do I need to think about here? So that will give me Tommy up front, and I'm going to put Arthur back here. And I want Tommy to be holding a gun. So once again I say I've moved across in front of my own drawing. I put my face in front of my drawing. Okay. So that's alright. It's not, like I said, it won't win any awards, but that's a decent sketch to start with. Let's just do the gun and then I'll pause this video. Holding an old, search for holding old-fashioned gun. Oh yeah, that's a bit too old-fashioned. This, yeah. Okay, I'll draw that. So I just want a sketch of a gun. There's nothing to tell here. I'll go away and spend an hour or two finishing this off, and then I'll tag it on to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. So here's what I did to finish it off. For Arthur, I kind of sketched in, I looked at a photo of him and I sketched in this outline, and then I sketched over that again with more definition until I finally got to this, which I was happy with. Added some colour and some highlights and lowlights. There's a hat and a dicky bow. Then for the face, I drew over it again with clearer lines. Then I threw out the old face and I added eyes, lips, and then we have some skin tones and some hair tones rather, and that's Arthur. And then Tommy, for the same thing, I sketched in pose, and then I made another layer and drew over that more carefully, getting me that, some colour, highlights and lowlights, and then we come up to the face. You see I changed it a little bit, mostly traced it. Skin tones, some colour for the hat, and that's Tommy done. And so that's the two figures done. For the background, I just looked up some of the old posters, and you can find that they're always often on a street. So I sketched in the street roughly coloured it. I didn't bother with too much detail on the street, as you can vaguely pick out a car there. When I added the two guys, they were kind of blending in, so I used a feather tool to put a bit of white around them, and then I turned down the opacity of the background layer to about 35%, And here it is with some contrast added. So that's the final illustration there.